I'm Larry the Professor, and over here is our good friend Joe, or today's John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith.
Heimer Schmidt. The name of my name.
You know that's not my name too, but that's okay. We are going to talk to you about a movie that's out in the theaters. A lot of times we're talking about movies that have been out for a while, but today Joe and I both have seen this in the theater, so we're going to talk a little Formula One racing movie called F1. So yeah, so sit back, strap on, get your harness together. So it's going to be a bumpy ride. Okay, maybe not, but anyway, F1 is a new movie out from the director Joseph. Is it Konsky, who was the director of Top Gun Maverick. So there are some similarities on the feel of how this movie is shot and how this movie is done to Top Gun Maverick. So it made sense. I'm like, okay, that makes perfect sense. That is the director. Because of that, the basic gist of this movie is Brad Pitt plays a older driver, and he's not Formula One at this point. Sonny Hayes. He started off in Formula One as a rookie, had a bad accident. Since then, he's been going basically from team to team and to group of pretty much anybody who needs racing. Any type of racing, as long as it's racing, he's your man. And he kind of plays it pretty intensely. Yeah. He's an intense guy. It's seen from the very beginning where he was driving in the 24 Hours of Daytona, which my son loved because he loves to watch the 24 Hours of Daytona, and how their driving team was way behind, and Sonny got in and caught back up for him by playing it chancy and loose as he does. So he's the old maverick kind of character who does it his way and likes to press things. And then you've got basically, so he's going around and living in a van or an RV or something, basically just living that way because he doesn't want to commit to a team of any kind. And he's approached by an old friend who was a rival at one point in F1, and basically says, "Hey, we've got this team in F1, and we need a driver because we lost a driver. We need a new driver, and want you to come drive for us." It gives them the whole spiel of, if you win, then people remember you forever. You're always going to be a winner in their head, and blah blah blah. And eventually, after some considering, it did this in the middle of a laundromat. So you're in a laundromat, and all of a sudden, this guy driving a very nice vehicle comes in. You've got Sonny, whose house is out in the parking lot because he drove his van to the laundromat as he's doing laundry. So a very different place in life. But the owner has a fairly new team that he's with, and that team basically has until the end of the season. They're halfway through the season to win. If they don't win at least one race, then the owners are going to sell the team. The other associate owner. Yeah, the conglomerate there. And so it's a APX GP is the name of his team. And so they basically have to win, and so they're desperate for a driver. Sonny eventually comes on. There is a hotshot young rookie that's on the team. And it's kind of interesting because I remember the days of Brad Pitt playing that hotshot rookie kind of character. Yeah. And now we've come full circle where he's the old grizzled veteran, and that made me feel old just to see that. And I was like, oh, now I'm feeling really old because of that. But the hotshot new driver is Joseph Pierce. His real life actor is Damon. Is it Idris? And I've seen that last name, so he must be related to. I can't even think of who that is, but yes. So you've got that. You've got Javier Bardem plays the owner, Ruben. And then there is a love interest of the first female technical advisor or technical chief for this F1 team. She came from I think it was Silicon Valley. She was working in Silicon Valley, and then she came over do this, and of course she's under the gun to try to prove herself as a female in this role because there's never been any females in this role before. So,
and this is the crew that sits on the side of the racetrack and talks to their head.
Talks in the headphones, right. And she makes changes to the cars to try to make them faster and does other things. She's looking at the technical aspects of it. What can you do during the race and what can you do to make the car better? And the cars that they start off with that when Sunny finally joins are really slow and they just don't have any advantages to them. And they keep coming in last place. And of course, they don't have a ton of extra money to dump into stuff. But working with Sunny, they develop some changes, and Sunny pulls some shenanigans to try to do different things. I loved when he intentionally drove slow, leaving very last on the start of the warm-up lap, and that way when he got back, they would hit go, and he would already warmed up. Everybody else's cars have gotten colder. Their tires are cold, everything else. So it was kind of fun to watch. I don't know a lot about F1 racing. My son is a huge fanatic. And so he loves F1 racing. So he's telling me all this stuff. And that's the reason I went was because he was like, Dad, I really want to go see this. And so I took him with me. And we went and saw it. And
he watches all of it when it's going on.
He knows what's going on, which, unlike NASCAR, which is broadcast, pretty regularly here in the States, F1 is a little harder to catch, but he does catch stuff, and sometimes he watches the races afterwards. Like, he may even know what happened, but he's going to watch the race. Like, he's trying to watch the 24 hours of Daytona, and we watched 3 hours of it yesterday. I'm like, okay, I'm done for a little while. I know you got 24 hours, but I'm not going to sit in front of the TV and watch this the whole time. So,
but in terms of the young. He may be ahead of the curve in terms of the young generation. Maybe that's what the young generation grows up with is F1,
I think that it does sound that way. F1 is getting a lot more popular in the States. It is, of course, the big popular one in Europe. It's the big racing platform that's huge in Europe. So we do have, we do have some people that do that. Okay. But so basically the movie's plot reminds me a lot of it's a typical the underappreciated group which comes up to win at the end. Bad News Bears. It's there's just been all sorts of it's Joe's Gym from Dodgeball. I mean, it's all those things. There are things with it, but it's the general plot. So we've seen it done a million times. It's still a good story, but it's definitely one of those where they didn't break any new boundaries with the story. They put a pretty generic story in there and said, let's have cars that go really fast and make lots of noise. And we're going to have a lot of fun with it. And they did. I mean, it was very shot beautifully. Yeah. Really shot beautifully, in my opinion. Brad Pitt does a really good job playing Sonny Hayes, even though I wouldn't say the character had a ton of depth, other than he gave it a little more depth, I felt like.
A ton of depth.
Damon did a really good job playing Joshua Pierce. So I felt good about that character. There's some really fun interactions in it. And so, it's one of those movies to where if you want a popcorn movie for the summer, this is one you can go out and see. And you'll have a good time for your couple hours and you'll feel like it. You're like, yeah, okay. That was fun. So
great to see in the theaters. You got to see it in the theater. I mean, you don't have to, but it's best to see it in the theaters. Maybe on the smaller screen, it doesn't translate as well in terms of how they filmed it.
Right.
But yeah, it was, it's funny that you mentioned the similarity to Top Gun, because that's exactly how I felt when I was watching it.
Yeah.
But we'll start with good stuff first.
Yeah. Let's start with good.
I think one of the goals of the movie is to get America more interested in F1.
Sure.
And I thought they did a really good job of doing that. Especially so I was a dummy going into it, I mean, I know what a race car is, but and I don't know if this is how it works. Your son would know, but did you notice the announcers that they're basically the narrators of the race? They're
right.
telling
they
you
are. Yeah.
No. But did it seem like they were kind of saying it so simplified and so loud that it was? Did it come off to you like they are really trying to explain this thing?
It did. It felt like that was part of the way to explain it to people. Is that hey, we've got this going on, and we're going to tell everybody with the announcers. And it's interesting because I don't know that this is how it works. My son probably does know, but the announcers were also speaking through the headsets, so
Yeah,
it's like the drivers could hear that also, which I found very fascinating. And they
yeah,
would, there wasn't a whole lot of jargon used. There was a little bit here and there where they talked about different things, but usually they explained what it was when they did that. So it
right.
did feel like it was filmed in a way to make it to where F1 racing is more user friendly for people to watch the big races. So they were like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I've seen the movie. I kind of know what's going on. Yeah,
Yeah. Or for kids that
for
are watching,
kids. Yep.
it was very simple at times. At times it would be like, "Oh no, he's just made this turn wrong. That will cost him 5 seconds that he needs to get at the end." I was like, "Okay, I get it, but whatever. It's a popcorn flick."
It is. It is a popcorn flick, most definitely.
Yeah, the shots were really interesting, and I listened to an interview with Brad Pitt. I guess at one point they were actually on the track. What's the
Hmm.
famous track?
One of
Sunny.
the ones in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I guess there was a break in between racing at some point, and the film crew, had everything all set up and ready to go, but they only got one shot to do it
Right.
because in the middle of this race or maybe beginning or end or something. And but they did, they got it, and so Brad Pitt actually was driving with other drivers at one point.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and the cameras on the cars themselves was
Yeah.
really steady cam
It,
shots, and different angles.
it really kind of let you in and felt like you were there. Where if you're watching a race on TV, normally you're going to have those overhead shots, or if
Yeah,
you're going around a curve, I mean, you may have a camera there that's following some people, but you don't have that feel, at least from the races that I've seen, of it.
yeah,
Like you're right there in the car with them, and that really gave you that feel, which I know that benefited from that. The graphics and everything else with it were beautifully done. The pictures in it, everything was very beautifully photographed. Not photographed, but cinematography was beautiful in it. So it really shone really well what it looked like there. I don't know how much of that was CGI or how much of it was what, but it looked really good. It was a very pretty movie.
if it was CGI, I couldn't tell.
No, I couldn't either. I couldn't either. So
So, yeah. So I thought the protagonist, Joshua, I thought
yeah,
he was way over the top in terms of how dramatic he acted. Um, I felt like I felt like real F1 drivers probably wouldn't act like that. I mean, if they don't like you, they're just not going to talk to you. They're not going to.
sure. Well,
Maybe.
the whole build up there between the two is that if the race company is sold, then whoever buys it picks their own drivers. And he's a rookie. He's worked his tail off to get here. He's still pretty young. And so
Yeah,
you've also got him being young, which is some of that. But, this is your one shot. And if you
yeah,
don't win, you may not ever get picked up to drive F1 again, which is kind of what the mantle of oh, F1 driving. So that's kind of his fear. So he's operating in a lot of fear. His best friend
yeah,
kind of feeds into that fear a lot with a lot of things that he says, and he's of course all about taking the social media stuff and getting pictures to try to get his fame up because he's trying to get he basically his mentality throughout most of the movie is I want another group to pick me up. So when this
right.
fails, I want somebody else to pick me up and take a chance on me. So I'm going to do
Yeah,
all these things to try to get my notoriety up. I'm going to try to do whatever. So there's points after they lose that he stops and poses. And of course, Brad Pitt's character Sonny is like, "What are you doing? We lost.
yeah.
What are you smiling for? We lost. We didn't get anything.
You don't get to pose when you
You don't
lose.
get exactly." I did, then you also have the stereotypical thing with the grizzled veteran starts doing things in a certain way so the young rookie can score points and get his confidence up. So he's doing all sorts of things intentionally to cause problems, hitting other cars and causing a flag to come out. So and like keep going. They're going to have to pit, and that way you can kind of get going out. It was kind of fun how he played the games of what to do to try to get ahead.
Well, and at the same time, they're getting ahead. He's also he's the wise old horse that teaches the young horse how to do everything.
He is.
They're bonding. They're bonding.
They do, and it was interesting that because the character Sonny comes in and instantly bonds with the pit crew and all the staff, and he even gets them to go jogging with them because he goes out and runs where Joshua's character is running on the treadmill and he's got all this stuff on and doing the stuff, and Sonny's out there running it old school around the track, and all suddenly, before you know it, the whole crew is out there running with him, and they're running a lap to warm up or whatever. But so yeah,
so that's my when I saw Top Gun Maverick, I thought to myself, the director of this really loves Top Gun. It's his favorite movie.
Right.
And when I saw this, right in the middle of right when I'm thinking that, and I knew it was the director, another line comes that was straight out of Top Gun. Damn, this kid's good.
Yeah, right.
My God, it felt like yes. So it feels like this guy just. I mean, I didn't make the movie. I don't make millions of dollars like he did, but it feels like he's just kind of recycling all those.
If it works,
works,
use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Joshua was the Iceman, and or no, he was probably the Maverick, the young cocky kid who, didn't
even though Sonny does things like Maverick would. So he does the hitting the other cars and doing other things to cause them to be able to get some points and do some things. So he had that aspect, but yes, the young cocky part definitely was with Joshua. So they kind of took the character and kind of divided up different parts of that.
And they took the race crew and made them kind of wacky, like
right.
We're all along together and
right.
And
the girl who drops the what do you call it? Where you take off the tires with she dropped hers and Joshua ran over that and yells at her and all this other stuff, and then so then Sonny has to find a way to make it better. Treat the people better.
Yeah, I feel like they're running. It was like the volleyball scene in Top Gun Maverick or Top Gun, and then they all went and played football on the beach.
Football, exactly. Yeah, you kind of there's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah,
but it doesn't make it bad. It just makes like okay, I've seen the plot of this, but
right.
A lot of movies do that. I mean, a good portion of chick flicks are the exact same plot every time.
Every time, yep.
Girls with guy, he's jerk. She finally breaks up with him. The other guy who's always been there, the reliable but cute one. And then, will they or won't they? And then he does something stupid, and then she gets upset with him, and then eventually goes back to him. That's pretty much the plot.
And makes it up to her, and right off into the sunset.
Exactly. So it's really not a lot. There are certain movie types that you're like, okay, that's probably what they're going to do, and it's not necessarily bad. It's just kind of what it is. So yeah,
that's formula. Yeah, formula for success.
A formula for Formula One. How about that? Huh. Maybe that's what we should have called this: is the formula for Formula One.
Yes.
The
first formula. Yeah.
Well, so we've talked a little about what was bad in it for you.
I don't know if anything was bad. I'm 20 minutes before the movie was over, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this to be done.
Sure.
It wasn't too long. I mean, I think they wrapped it up pretty well.
They did.
I don't think anything was bad. I probably wouldn't watch it again. You know,
Sure. You've seen it.
not
You know what's going to happen. So yeah.
yeah.
I'm betting that we will own this movie eventually, but mainly because of my son. I think you're right. 2 hours and 35 minutes is a little long for it, and I don't. I like getting my money's worth out of movies. I hate when movies are like 80 minutes because I feel like I paid all this money and didn't get any time with it. But 2 hours 35 minutes is a runtime. If it was 2 hours, it probably would have felt a little more smooth there. But that last little bit kind of did stretch. So
I think you're right. Yeah, I would say. How about you? What were things you didn't like?
other than it being the same story I've seen, and that really is the only thing that really kind of bothered me with it. And like, and again, I come to expect that a lot of movies reuse the same plot lines. Hollywood, unfortunately, has a hard time with new plot lines or new anything. So the fact that they made a movie about F1 is actually amazing, since nobody's ever done it in the '80s before, and then we're going to redo it.
Yeah.
Even though I did kind of have a little bit of a feel of well, what was the Tom Cruise racing movie?
Oh, Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder had a little bit of Days of Thunder feel there with it also. So like
Absolutely.
okay, but yeah. So but yeah, it was. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't have really any real complaints with it.
Boy, now that you mention it, yeah, racing, at least American movies, there's not a lot about it really. You know, Days of
No.
Thunder, car, and you haven't seen anything since. That was what 40 years ago, 35 years ago.
Well, you have Talladega Nights,
Okay, yeah,
but not a serious movie. Even though
right.
NASCAR drivers have said that's actually not that far from reality.
Yeah,
Which is crazy. But you don't get a lot of racing movies. You don't get a lot with F1. Now,
sure.
some of the older movies from the 50s and 60s really did focus on like Formula One and those kind of racing movies. Elvis, and then there were many others where you would have them out racing in Formula One or a European kind of style race. But that was a long time ago that was kind of the big thing. So
Yeah, that seems somewhat familiar. Sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about how other people rated this for us, Joe, and see
Yeah.
what other people think, because it's an interesting group here. IMDb ranks this at 7.9 out of 10, which is a pretty good score. I mean, that
Yeah.
is pretty much like a B minus score for it. People seem to like it a lot. It has gone down a little in popularity, but it's not the hottest thing in the theaters right now. You got Superman, you got Fantastic Four, you've got Jurassic World, and F1 out there, which I think has done really well compared to all the stuff that's going on around with it.
Yeah,
Um,
it sold a lot of
yeah,
tickets.
it has, which is great for them.
Yeah.
The popcorn meter, which is the fan meter, people that have seen it in theaters, the fans give it a 97%. So people like this movie a lot. Yeah. The critics
Love
gave it a good 82%. I mean, if you got your critics thinking it's pretty good there, and then your fans are really enjoying it, you've
Yeah.
got the the Metacritic, who always seems to be a little lower on things. That's a 68% liking it.
Ooh.
So
Does it
a
say who
little less than, yeah.
does it say who that critic is?
No, it's just a group. It's a group.
Okay.
Metacritic is a site, and that's where they ranked it. So 96% of Google users said they liked the movie. So it didn't give it a certain letter grade or a number, but 96% said they liked it. So that's quite a bit too. So
It's about
uh,
what they expect.
yeah, right, and it's a fun movie starring Brad Pitt, and
Yeah.
who's very likable, especially as he gets older. I think he becomes more likable, and
Yeah.
then you
He's
have that movie type that keeps winning. Right, you just keep doing this.
yeah.
So um,
He's 61 and he doesn't look 61, I didn't think.
no, not at all. I agree. Like I said, I remember watching the movies where he was the young kid. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's the young one, and he was from Springfield, Missouri, by the way. Brad Pitt grew
Yeah.
up, raised in Springfield, Missouri, went to Kickapoo High School in Springfield. where I'm at. So yeah, the I did say.
I asked you last weekend about John Goodman's
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
Do the Pitts have a house
Well,
down
yes,
there?
they do, because it wasn't. He went to high school and like elementary all the way up to high school here. So
Okay.
unlike with John Goodman, who was here to go to college, Brad Pitt's family grew up here, and they have. They're into real estate. They've got a really nice house. Of course, they do, because their son brings in millions of dollars for every movie, and his brother does pretty well for himself. I mean, the whole family does pretty well. They're known to frequent a certain pizza place here in Springfield when he's in town. So sometimes you will see Brad Pitt. I've never actually seen him there, but some people will tell you, oh, I just saw Brad Pitt at Eris Pizza. And then you're like, oh, wow. All right. I guess he's in town. So,
I also heard that his last name is really Pitts, but they dropped the S.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
It's just useless knowledge.
Well, see, there you go. I did say the thing that I disliked on my review, because I did a review on the Geeky Kool. So GeekyKOOL.com, cool with a K. You can go there and check out my written up review on this. And I did say basically the story lacked depth, was what I didn't like, and that we've seen this story before. But that's really my only harsh criticism of it, and it's not even that harsh. It's like the movie knows that this is not. They're not breaking any bounds with this. So that's what everybody else says. So tell me, Joe, how do you rank this movie?
I mean, I would give it a C.
So you give it a C. Okay, yeah.
Just for
most definitely
entertainment value. If I can see through what a director or scriptwriter is trying to do, I usually don't. It's like,
Sure.
I know what you're trying to do. I don't want to be fooled. Right. So I'll give it a C.
I get that completely. I go a little higher on it just because it was an entertaining popcorn summer movie. It was exactly what you're looking for, to go to the theater, to get away from the heat, to be entertained for a couple hours. So I give it a B, because I was definitely entertained, even though the plot was redundant. So
B and a C for F1.
For F1. So that's our review, guys. What do you guys think? Did you love this movie? Did you think it was meh? Did you hate it? What do you think of Brad Pitt playing the older veteran? Let us know in comments, and be glad to answer any of the questions. If you have movies that you would like us to review, please hit us up. As you've heard from prior, we do that somewhat frequently. So when we get those requests, we try to get those watched and review those for you, or rewatched in some cases. So check that out. But yeah, we'll hopefully get some more new movies as time goes on, get some other ones in the theater to be able to tell you if you should spend your money on it. So basically, if you want to spend your money on a fun popcorn movie, this is a good one to pick. If you want something that's going to be more than 2D on plot, then if you're looking for that, then maybe it's not the movie to see in the theater. So
right.
Kind of depends on what you want. Or if you find Brad Pitt hot, I guess that would probably be a good one.
That's a good reason to go.
I guess. I'm kind of that way with Scarlett Johansson. If she's in it, I can watch her knit, and I'm perfectly happy. So I don't know.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to end this out, but go ahead. What else you got for me?
I was going to say just I did watch Aliens and Alien over the weekend, so look forward to maybe those as a podcast.
That would be good, because we talked a lot about how the sequels were different from the original, and I assume you totally see the big differences there, especially in the first and the second one. Very different feel to it.
But I didn't realize there were so many good directors involved. So we'll say that.
Oh, very much so. I agree. Well, we will come back to that. You guys can have a little sneak peek that we may be talking Aliens and Aliens 3 in the near future here. Until then, though, we will be back next week with another review. Stay geeky and go watch